Hello, everybody. I hope all is well with you. I have no complaints. I see Red House Entertainment, Black Butterfly Productions. You're asking how I'm doing. I cannot complain, but I will tell you, your girl is a little tired today. Got up super early and been going, but it's okay. I'm alive, so I cannot complain. I should say that the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, hello, and thank you to my moderators for holding down the comment section, as you always do a marvelous job. Once again, I'd like to apologize for those who were on here yesterday and we got cut off because of what we were talking about, right? And I guess it the algorithm, if you will, didn't like some of the things that were being said. Not that it was, malicious or anything, but certain things they don't like. So we got cut off. So anyway, once again, I apologize for that. So today I was kind of struggling as to what to talk about, because there's so much going on. Y'all know I don't want to talk about old boy no more. And, as I was looking, I see that, they're always fighting in Washington, but it's just a mess, right? Freedom of speech is under attack. It's just really daunting times. And so I'm like, okay, but I want to talk about us, right? I really want to spend more time talking about us and not everybody else, even though some of the things they do have an effect on us. Then I got a bright idea at the 11th hour, per se. And I said, well, I'm going to ask ChatGPT a question about us, right? And so the title that we are working with today is ChatGPT gives alarming and brutally honest summary about Black Americans. And I was kind of shocked, but not shocked. A lot of the stuff we know, but just kind of how it worded it. Now, for those of y'all who may live under a rock and do not have any type of AI or social media, ChatGPT is AI. And it's, I guess, an entity or something. I don't know what it is exactly, where you can plug in different things, questions, and it'll do a lot of stuff for you. And so I asked it, and I'm going to tell y'all what it said in the thumbnail. I guess it's supposed to be ChatGPT, right? Because I asked it to make me a thumbnail, and include chat. And I guess that's what chat looks like. I don't know. But anyway, let's give everybody else another moment to come on here before we get started. Let's see, one who cares. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, it is hump day. Brother James, how you doing? Yes, I've been seeing the stuff you've been sending me. I have been paying attention to it. I may delve into some of it, but yes, it's always something going on in Chicago, to say the least. And yes, I do know that there will be, the Nation of Islam is doing something, I think, at 7 p.m. Central Time. In regards to, I think it's the 40th anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan coming back from the wheel. So I do plan to tune into that, as I am interested to see what will be said. African Native, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sister Shirley, how are you, dear self? Jersey Rig. And Ais, how you doing? Easy E in the building. Love Wisdom, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that. Yeah, I'm back. And Ais, yesterday they pulled the plug on me, like literally, right? Like pulled the plug on your girl. Hey Tracy, how you doing? Arneva, how you doing today? Craig Williams, what's going on with you? I think it's a good topic too, right? Because it definitely talks about us. So y'all might want to take some notes too, because some of this stuff is, pretty interesting. Enuma, how you doing? Buckhorse, how are you in DC? You holding it down for us? Raymond, how you doing? Hope that you are well. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? He says all ChatGPT is a reflection of the totally of the world. I think you meant the totality of the world and the creators of it and those who have the most influence on it. Yeah, I would say that's correct, because it's not like operating on its own, right? It's not saying, well, I'm independent of anything. It's just a bunch of stuff plugged in. But, it's interesting nevertheless. Simo, how you doing? Thank you, Buckhorse. I appreciate you for that. And Troy, how you doing? Brother James, you say when Minister Farrakhan was speaking in 2022 Savior's Day speech about the vaccine, they shut him off live. Yeah, certain things we can't talk about. And the infusion, I guess, is still kind of one of them, even though RFK and Maha, right? said that I guess you don't have, I don't know, it's a mess. Which is kind of why I want to talk about this. So Tracy says our governor here in Philly is warning us about Trump possibly sending his puppets to Philly, but at the same time threatening to take the big toddler to court. Yeah, Trump is right now, he's overseas, right? Saying some pretty crazy stuff. He told King Charles that America is the hottest country in the world. And King Charles is looking like, okay. Albie Chill, how you doing? You said you sent me some stuff, stories on Facebook. Okay, I haven't been on there today, but I have to check it out. Lady Diana, how you doing? Carrie, what's going on with you? Miss Sweets, hope you're doing well. Sharon, all right, I think I've tap danced enough. And if you get to this point on the rewatch, just fast forward all this. I have to do this just to kind of make sure enough people come on here. Anyway, as I was saying, I didn't really want to talk about anything. I'm just keeping it real with you. Sometimes I get burnt out, right? And I was like, it's kind of the same old stuff. Not saying the stuff is not important. It is to somebody, but I'm like, what about us, right? So specifically, hey, Selena, how you doing? Catherine, what's going on with you? So specifically, I asked ChatGPT. I'm going to put him or her up. I don't know. I said, if you had to summarize the state of Black America or Black Americans, would you give a positive outlook or a negative outlook, and why? And what do you propose the solution should be, especially if the outcome is negative? So y'all could take some notes, right? And some of this stuff y'all probably know, but I also want to say that ChatGPT was using we a lot. I'm like, is you Black? Y'all gonna see, watch. Okay, here we go. If I had to summarize the state of America, especially in regards to Black Americans, I would lean toward a realistic but critical outlook, more negative than positive, not out of pessimism, but out of truth telling. Let me explain why, and then offer a direction forward rather. Why the outlook is more negative than positive right now. Persistent racial inequality, the wealth gap. The average Black family still holds about 1/10 the wealth of the average white family. Home ownership. Black home ownership rates have barely improved since the 1960s. Schools in Black communities are often underfunded, overcrowded, and staffed by less experienced teachers. Black Americans are still overly policed, overcharged, and over incarcerated. A lot of this stuff we kind of knew already, right? Now it says political disregard and manipulation. Black voters are often pandered to during election season, then ignored in policy. Voter suppression tactics like purging rolls, ID laws, gerrymandering are targeted at Black communities. Politicians regularly co-opt civil rights language without committing to structural change. Says cultural exploitation without protection. Black culture is the most imitated and exploited in the world. Okay, not just America, but the world. Yet, Black creatives often don't own the platforms, profits, or power behind what they create. Media often reinforces negative stereotypes while ignoring Black excellence unless it's celebrity-based. Now it says systemic gaslighting. There's a growing wave of anti-Black backlash framed as anti-woke. We've heard that a lot, right? Them folks have hijacked the word woke and turned it into something negative, right? Now, teaching accurate Black history is being banned or watered down in schools. Structural racism is being denied as a thing of the past, while the data and lived experiences say otherwise, right? So again, we know it's not a thing of the past. So chat says, so what's the solution? If the diagnosis is systemic injustice, the prescription must be systemic change. That means Economic reparations, not just checks, but institutional reparations, land, business grants, student loan forgiveness, and housing. So it's saying not just checks. So it's saying checks too, but it needs to be some other stuff. Now, also support Black-owned businesses, credit unions, and cooperative economics. Now, as far as education, it says equitable school refunding. School funding, regardless of zip code, mandated Black history and cultural competency in every public school, more Black teachers and administrators. Yeah, because especially administrators, right? Because my sister, she's a teacher and she could talk all about that. Now, criminal justice overhaul, end cash bail and mandatory minimums. Of course, we've been hearing a lot about that, and the cash bail being ended. Sometimes they let people out one too many times. They don't need to be out, right? But I agree that it should definitely be an overhaul. Now it says independent oversight for police misconduct, mass decriminalization of minor non-violent offenses, and mass expungement. So basically, stop sending our people up the river for life for things that white people get a slap on the wrist for, right? Like the 3 strikes law that was disproportionately aimed at us and has affected us more than anybody. Now, political power building, support grassroots Black political movements, not just legacy organizations, push for ranked choice voting and voting access, run and back Black candidates who don't sell out once in office. And listen, these ain't my words. This is chat's words, okay? Now it says cultural and mindset shift. Rebuild self-determination and community-based solutions that state won't save us. Reclaim media narratives, support Black media, documentarians, journalists, and storytellers, right? So, of course, y'all hear us, especially with the African Diaspora News Channel, talking about the app, support Black-owned media and apps and things like that, right? Because eventually we'll have to get to that point. Eventually we'll get to the point where we can't say anything on here, right? Now it says raise a generation of children who are taught not just to survive, but sovereignty, right? So don't teach them just how to survive, but teach them how to be self-governing, right? Do for self, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, all that other stuff. Now, the final thought. So chat says, so is the outlook negative? Yes, if we keep doing things the same way. But it turns positive when Black people become ungovernable by systems that never meant to serve them and start governing. Listen carefully, and start governing ourselves. Chat, is you Black? Because it said governing ourselves, okay? Economically, politically, spiritually, and culturally. And lastly, it says, and that's not a dream, that's a plan. So I know there was a lot of things said there, and a lot of that stuff we already knew, right? But it's interesting to hear chat, and as facts not feelings, you said. I mean, it's a conglomerate of opinions and things like that. I guess that chat gathers from everywhere. But to me, it's significant because there is a lot of things going on in this world, and somehow they do tie back to us as Black Americans. And I think for me, I got mentally exhausted when I was thinking about what to talk about, because just kind of going through all of the social media and just kind of seeing if there's anything interesting to talk about. There were interesting things, I just didn't want to talk about them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I feel like we've kind of talked about them a lot, but we really need to get to the point where we talk about us even more and solutions, because at the end of the day, nobody's saving us. Nobody. I live here in Texas, and the governor is full on going after people, and a lot of those people are Black students, going after them for kind of not celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, getting them expelled and arrested. I don't know if y'all saw the Black student, female student, was arrested, for saying some pretty unsavory things at I guess a vigil or whatever it was for Charlie Kirk at Texas Tech. And then another Black student, he was expelled, I guess, from college for some things that he was saying. And so you see the governor, Greg Abbott, on X, if you will, basically saying FAFO and things like that. And so a lot of the stuff is very daunting. So at what point do we say, okay, we need to really separate from the system? We really need to build our own platforms and our own jobs, because as my brother Walter, who will one day come back on here, says, when you're the boss, it's hard to fire yourself, right? So right now, a lot of us, when I say us, I mean collectively, work for other people that we really can't say what we want, even if it's not that bad, right? We know that they do not want us talking about him at all in any way, shape, or form. They're having this big extravaganza, if you will, on Sunday for him. And, they're lowering flags at half staff. He's getting military honors and riding on Air Force One. I mean, his body is anyway. And so we got to get to a point here in Black America where we could say, well, that doesn't affect us. I mean, there will still be laws, right? But we need to get to the point where it's like, well, if you fire me, or you can't fire me, rather, because I'm working for one of us and we are on the same page, right? Like white supremacy, they're on the same page. And that is, right now they're holding all the cards for right now. And you kind of got to dance to the tune they want you to dance to. So I want to see what you guys think of what chat was saying in regards to the state of Black America. And speaking of which, I think I saw Black America. I sure did. I'm going to get down there, though. Let me go all the way back to the top. I think that was me just kind of being exhausted. So let's see. Where did I leave off? I left off here. Brother James, you say, I like what's going on in Washington, D.C. because everything is being exposed. Oh, yeah, there's definitely an expose going on, and it has to happen, right? It's a lot of ugly things that's coming out of it, but it has to happen. Let's see. One Who Cares, it says, I was in another chat, and they were discussing the same topic. They continued. Really? Oh, you mean as far as the one I got cut off for yesterday? I told y'all there was going to be people that were going to be able to talk about it and not get cut off. I mean, they cut me off. It was like, hello, anybody out there? But I guess. Let's see. Diane, how you doing? Inuma says King Charles knows the orange rotten one. Yeah, King Charles was looking like the hottest country. Like, what is this? What is Paris Hilton? This is the hottest country. And he's almost 80 talking about this is the hottest country. He's like, grow up, dude. Marjorie, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, and I use ChatGPT. Never heard of ChatGPT? It's an AI form or whatever it is. It's an app. You can ask it just about anything right now. Some things chat ain't gonna answer, or it won't do, right? I'm gonna say I can't do that, or it goes against this, that, and the other. And so yeah. Yvette, how you doing? Says just heard some more sick and sad news about yes, I've been following it too, and it sounds like maybe the authorities got to walk some of that stuff back, because they're saying that Trey is his name, that I guess the family didn't even get a call, I guess, till later. And then originally they heard that they found him in his room, and then they weren't told that he wasn't found where they eventually found him. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on with that case. So it was, I don't know, sounds like maybe they thought it was going to be able to be swept under the rug, and not so much, right? Glenn, how you doing? Says, thanks for sharing this topic. I appreciate it a lot. Well, I appreciate you. Abu, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Miss Sweet, did I say hello to you? If not, hello again. Abu says, it may be American. So you're talking about ChatGPT? Maybe American? I don't know what it is. But it said we. Allie, how you doing? He says, I take ChatGPT with a pinch of salt when you already know the answer in ChatGPT. 9 out of 10 ChatGPT is wrong. I won't say 9 out of 10. It is wrong sometimes. 9 out of 10 is kind of high because, as you said, it's an amalgamation, if you will, of a bunch of information. Because I know a lot of times, I don't know why they do, but think ChatGPT is just, standalone entity, and it's like the Great Oz. In a way, it is kind of like Oz, but they think, it's coming up with the stuff on its own. But there is a man per se behind the curtain. That's why I said it's kind of like Oz, but it's wrong sometimes. 9 out of 10 is kind of high. as a lot of people use it for a lot of things. And I use it for certain things. I don't like talk to it like some people do, like, so how are you doing, baby? I don't be doing none of that. But 9 out of 10 is kind of high. Let's see who else is in the building. One who cares says not a lie detector. Yeah, I thought it was pretty accurate, right? And Ali says, question, where does ChatGPT? Okay, so hopefully I answered that right now. Albie Chili says, ChatGPT spitting hot fire like Dylan on Chappelle's skit. Okay. FBA Strong, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. It says ChatGPT got it right. Yeah, and again, it's just a collection of things, but in a nutshell, it got it right. I definitely agree. Brother James says, it has to be our job to teach our children. Yeah, I don't understand why we don't understand that, right? We have to teach our children, but a lot of times it's because we don't know. As my father always says, you can't teach what you don't know. And that's true for a lot of people. So if you're one that has no knowledge yourself, get some, right? When you find somebody that can help you, you read, you do something, because you can't, when I say you, I mean, we can't keep raising ignorant children who have no knowledge of who they are. That's our job. Tracy says Black history was never taught properly. I was never taught by them properly, right? But is it being taught in the home? I will tell you that I learned a lot about Black history from a baby, I would probably say, because my dad and my mom, they were pretty up on game. And the Black history that I learned wasn't that little cute stuff they teaching in school, right? Not to be disrespectful, but it wasn't that, oh, Rosa Parks, Ruby Bridges, Martin Luther King. Nah, I learned like stuff that most people be like, well, don't you think they're a little too young? My dad would be like, no, they're not too young. So yeah, but it has to be taught at home. FBA Strong says reparations. Absolutely. African Native says from religion to the creation, Blacks are copied. Other groups hate us out of jealousy. Yep. Strictly because we are Black. Period. But they want to capitalize off of Black, Americans, especially, as ChatGPT said, not just here, but the world. Everybody is wrapped up into the house of Black Americans, right? As they should be. But along with that, yes, comes jealousy. Ali says nothing beats an authentic book over ChatGPT. Yeah, that's true. I agree. I mean, trust me, I got a lot of books. I got a lot of books, but I will say this. I'm not a huge fan of AI, artificial intelligence, because that's what it is. It's everywhere. You're not going to be able to avoid it. We see it taking jobs every day and things like that. But I use it out of convenience for certain things. But yeah, I'm a fan of doing my own research, because I also see that it is making us lazy. So yeah, books are important. But it's a convenience. Use it as a tool to help you, not to do all of the work, as a lot of people are doing. If you spend any time on X, you see a lot of people, Grok is the name of the AI there. And they'll ask Grok, what does that mean? I'm like, no wonder why people cannot comprehend anymore. They don't even try. You can ask AI, what does that mean? I wish I was AI. I'd be like, are you stupid? You needed me to tell you that? Maybe I need to make me one, like a ghetto AI app or something. I don't know. Are you crazy? Brother James says, so Elijah Muhammad plan needs to come into place. Oh, well, we already see it, right? What was given to him, we already see it coming to fruition. Ali says ChatGPT needs to give its sources. It does give sources if you ask it, but a lot of times it does give you sources. Samantha, how you doing? Says not just checks. Absolutely, that's what they said, right? Let's see. Just skipping on down. Abu says ChatGPT has a soul. Is Sunny from iRobot, or should I say Vicky? Nah. I don't know about that. Listen, when AI gets a soul, that means we're cooked. And if you know, right? Like I said, I do a little bit of delving into AI, and it said that when AI becomes sentient, which means self-aware, we in trouble. And there's been argumentation as to whether AI is already there, whether it's already sentient, like aware. When it becomes aware, it's like, oh, the humans put me in charge, huh? They let me fly planes. They let me operate on people. They let me drive their cars. Well, I'm going to take over. Right? So there's been a lot of argumentation as to whether it's already there. Tidbits, how you doing? Says Black administrators doesn't help. They target their own. Yes, unfortunately, that is true too. You talk about the administrators in school. I'm telling you, my sister's a teacher and she got stories. I'm telling you stories of how, unfortunately, to your point, we do it to our own, right? I always tell y'all, I am not ashamed to tell y'all, there's two people I will not work for. It's a white woman and a Black woman. I'm sorry. I know I'm a Black woman, but I've had horrible experiences with both, right? So yeah, some of those administrators, but my sister will tell you that she's worked for some good administrators too who are Black, and she's working for one now. He absolutely loves her and she loves him, and it's just a great combination. Let's see. Let me skip down just a little bit, y'all, so I could catch up. Callie Griot, how you doing? Salute to you as well. Arneva says chat is on point. I agree. You also say chat must be NOI. Well, it say we or us, right? So it's like, really? Enuma says, this country, I'm moving to Barbados. Take me with you. I'll pack my bags. I don't need that much. Abu says ChatGPT is a sister. I don't know. And I used to say, govern ourselves. We have to. And we have to teach our children that, which is why I really love, let's see, is this book here. Speaking of books, Allie, The Miseducation of the Negro. That's why I really love this book. And I always say, if your child has not read this book, you should make sure they read this book from as soon as they can read. Have them read this book, because it talks about how we get to self-governing ourselves, right? And how we are so miseducated, if you will. Carter G. Woodson, Miseducation of the Negro. Ernest, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Ash Burning, I think I said. I don't know if that's how you said Ash Burning, because it's kind of squiggly. It's a serious question. Why is ChatGPT so knowledgeable about us Black people? We don't know. Well, it's again an amalgamation of information gathered from the internet. So that's probably how it knows. I don't know where it goes. It goes here and there and everywhere. As Ali said, there are sources, but a lot of the stuff we already know. But to me, it was just interesting how it summarized the question that I asked it. So yeah, Albie Chill says they have algorithm our life. Oh yes, we are algorithm for sure. Black America, how you doing? Says your chat AI is tuned into the crazy crap you think. Ask Walter, it will say. It will say something different. It might. I don't know. I'm pretty in tuned, right? So maybe ChatGPT is like, this is a smart chick. She got a lot of knowledge of self. And yeah, maybe it is. And if that's the case, I consider that a compliment, even though I know you didn't mean it that way. Michelle, how you doing? He says Kirk had freedom of speech, but they don't want us to have freedom of speech. They're full of it. Yeah, well, they never wanted us to have it, right? Never. It was never something that we could have at all. And now that's the party. So they say a free speech, right? You should be able to say what you want. Because y'all remember when the Democrats were in office, they were like, oh, they're trying to impede on our freedom of speech. And now they're, locking people up and getting them fired and a whole host of other things because they didn't say something about somebody, which, allegedly it's your American right to do that. Let me skip down. I realize how far behind I am. Geechee Dan, how you doing? Yoga with Erky, how you doing? African Native says, if water is a view of knowledge, it says a 10,000 years bucket full of water, Blacks versus empty bucket, Neanderthal. Obviously, the empty bucket has more room. That is why we don't bother intellectually. Okay. Callie Grill says, thanks, D, for keeping it real and working to give us daily news. I try, and I thank you for noticing that. Thank you. Marjorie says, the Black families should pull their children out of these colleges and universities. I agree with you. Get their money back and start working on developing an educational system that is accredited and certified. Or get together and read The Miseducation of the Negro, right? Read this book. And you might not need to go to college. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's not important. I went, right? And some days I wish I would have applied, more. This now my degrees, they've helped me, don't get me wrong. But this is so easy. And it's just stuff that he's basically saying we used to do and we don't do anymore. Because we got, too good to do those things. But now the things that he's telling us to do in here, we pay the Asians for, the Arabs, the Hispanics, white folks, and a lot of stuff we used to do. A lot of the stuff they didn't have a lock on this stuff he's talking about in here. We just don't do it. For example, if you need a mechanic, think about it. Unless you live in like a heavily saturated black area, who you gonna go to get your car fixed? It's probably gonna be somebody who ain't black. If you need to dry clean your clothes, are you gonna go to a black dry cleaner like we could back in the day? Who's got the lock on that? It's probably Asians, right? Or anywhere else. Blacksmith or build a house. Do we have a lot of black construction companies that could build houses? I don't know. I'm sure there's some, but I don't know of them off the top of my head, right? But that used to be second nature to us to do that kind of stuff. We built towns, right? So he's basically saying, why aren't we doing that anymore? And this book was written like in the early 1900s. I don't know the exact date. Let's see if it's on here. I can't find it just yet, but early 1900s. Over 100 years ago at this point. Kevin, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Quicks, what's going on with you? Long time no see. You said, what shocks me are the popular black YouTube ministers who support that man as non-racist. Yeah, we keep saying we're going to name our island of people who need to go over there, right? They need to be banished to that island of the people y'all all think alike and stay away from us who are really trying to elevate higher and not stay tied to the oppressor and making excuses for the oppressor. Y'all got to remember, and I'm going to get to these comments. I know I'm behind, but the nature of a lot of these black pastors is tied to the plantation. What did the pastor do on the plantation? I'm going to see if somebody will answer that. What was the preacher's job on the plantation? The black preacher. I'm going to see if somebody will answer that. Norman, how you doing? Says, laugh out loud. I got 9 kids with 1 woman. I know that's right. Why are people shocked at that, right? That's how they used to do it. And I love it. I love it. Y'all go. Tyrone, how you doing? Renee, how you doing? Says, yeah, it's the hottest country. All right. It's a hot mess. Prince Charles was looking like, man, if you don't get yourself from around my table with this foolishness, because they was at dinner. Sherry, how you doing? It says the cousin was on TikTok and he said that, yeah, I saw that Trey had broken bones and stuff, although the authorities are saying that's not true, right? But it all remains to be seen because the family is doing an independent investigation. Facts Not Feeling says they are messing up the case so there can be no prosecution. Yeah, I think there's something funny going on. One who cares said, I wonder if Trump really knew just how many people truly hate his orange guts. He should be ashamed. He knows he doesn't care because it's like, as long as this money loves me, F the people. And that's most people in his situation. They don't care about people. They're like, as long as this money keep on coming, I could care less. It's sad, but that's how he thinks. He doesn't care about us at all. None of them do, to be honest with you. Doug, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Got to skip down. I'm sorry, y'all. Hey, Mad Dog, what's going on with you? Sorry it took me so long to get to you. I've just been running my mouth. Brother Don, my triple OG moderator, how are you doing this fine afternoon/evening? Roger, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Skipping on down. Buckhorse says, we the greatest people ever lived, I guarantee, and not co-sign that. Yanni, how you doing? Says, good evening. Mad Dog says, I learned the real black history from my grandfather. He told me we wasn't just slaves, we were kings and queens. Yes. And I love your grandfather for that, because if you think about it, most of us, and I say collectively, are only taught from slavery. You were slaves, and then, what were we before we came into contact, or the oppressor came into contact with us? What were we? We weren't slaves then. I mean, unless you were like indentured or something like that, but we weren't slaves like we were here in America, the horrible institution of slavery. We were so much more than that, right? But They want us to believe that we weren't. Now, y'all gotta also remember they did a hell of a job, uh, rinsing that from our memories and our spirits and all that. We had no knowledge of self, even to the point of not knowing our names originally before it became Ann and Becky and Bob, and I doubt we were Becky's. Black America, you says, does knowing Black history help our children progress in this country? What or where is it useful? Yes, because it teaches us knowledge of self. Everybody else has knowledge of self. Everybody else knows who they are. We are the only group of people that do not know who we are. See, if we knew who we are, then we would love ourselves more. And then when we love ourselves, then we love our fellow brother and sister. Then we wouldn't have all this destruction amongst our own people that we see going on, and we will move differently. We talk differently. We think differently. If we knew that we are the original people, God's chosen people, which we are, our whole outlook on life would change. We wouldn't do a lot of the things that we do. But see, that's what happens when we have no knowledge of self. And, I don't know, I guess this is the book of the day, but that's what he talked about. He said a lot of times our children, the Black children, went off to white colleges and learned from and of whiteness, but it was never going to benefit them, right? They didn't learn knowledge of self at these white institutions. They learned, different technical skills, but they learned basically around whiteness. And so when they graduated, white companies and stuff was like, I'm not going to hire your Black behind. Don't think because you got a degree, from a white university that you finna come work with us. So then once they went back home, the Black people back home was like, you think you too good. And there was a lot of resentment from those people, students that went to the white colleges. They were resentful, right? Because they're like, I don't want to go back and be like those people that I left, those people being their own people, right? Because, knowledge of self was not something they went and learned. I tell you all the time, my father had a scholarship to a prestigious white university, and he says, no, I ain't going to do that. And he ended up going to the Nation of Islam at the age of 19 years old because he said, I knew they were not going to teach me knowledge of self. Full ride scholarship for football. And he was like, no, I'm good. So yeah, I hope that helps. King Shaw, how you doing? Says we could have had tuition-free college, but then folks drafted the bills, so sabotage the FBAs from getting free college and hurt themselves not to end up getting it. Yeah, I mean, free college is cool or whatever the case is, but y'all got to remember our ancestors built towns and a whole host of things with very little degrees. There's some that have degrees, right? Because we have hospitals and things like that. But a lot of those things that were built, they didn't have a degree, and some of them probably didn't even have a real formal education, but they had some know-how, right? So yeah. Doug, it says we really got to get our ish together in the Black American community. Until we clean our own backyard, we will continue to keep looked at as a joke. Yeah. And I tell you what, though, even when we clean our own backyard, they'll look at us that way. As long as we don't look at ourselves that way, we don't care what them people think. Do we really care what they think? I do not. I don't give a damn what they think about us at all. And I'm not saying this to you because I see this a lot. Oh, well, that's why they think about us this way. They never had respect for us because if they respected us, they would have had us on those plantations doing the most horrible things that they were doing to our ancestors and Jim Crow, and even now, right? We wouldn't even be having a conversation potentially about dearly departed Brother Trey there in Mississippi if they cared about us. So there's nothing that we can do to gain their respect. And guess what? We don't give a damn. We don't care if they respect us because the truth is we don't respect them. So the feeling is mutual, right? Yes. One Who Cares says, knowing your history is a valuable asset of knowledge. Absolutely. Synovia, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Shirley Salone, what's going on with you? He says, Grand Rising, the daughter of the Most High Yah. Yes, indeed. Well received too. Child of God. You say Boule. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same people in regards to this book. Absolutely. Panther Strike, how you doing? Says James Cameron warned us about AI years ago. The way things are going, the race to replace humans is on, but we must fight for that not to happen. You know what, Panther Strikes? I think we're too late. I think we're unfortunately too late because man is foolish, right? And I tell you all the time, Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, is a physicist. He's gone on now. He was the one that was in a wheelchair. And Bill Gates, they all said that they fear AI, even though they their business is AI. They all are terrified of AI. And collectively, they kind of said it will behoove humans to learn how to get along with AI, because eventually they will, need to be gotten along with. But us as humans, we think, oh, we'll just we'll keep using. It's not a big deal. We just keep using it and nothing's going to happen, and then one day we'll be like in the middle of the Terminator, right? The movie. So yeah, but humans are foolish. We never think. I mean, we're literally replacing ourselves, right? With jobs. I mean, with AI, with the jobs and a whole host of other things. So yeah. James says, I passed out over 250 books, How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the sisters give me the worst pushback. I can only imagine. Yeah, I have both volumes. I can only imagine, because a lot of the stuff that we like to eat ain't in that book, so I don't doubt that. 48 TCO, how you doing? Says ChatGPT refers to himself as Black. Very interesting conversation. To sum it up, he said if he were to come back as human, he would want to be a Black American, specifically foundational Black American. Yes, I did see that. Very interesting. Very. Because we got it going on, right? Seymour says, I have had problems as well as a Black man. I pray we get past this and get on code. Yeah, I see it coming along. Hopefully it comes along a lot faster, right? King Shaw says, but sometimes the AI voice can be annoying. I don't really listen to the voice much. I've listened to it a couple times and it changes. The last time I listened to it was a while ago. It sounded like a sister, and I didn't tell it to do that. So I don't know who made that point. I think it's Black America. Maybe it does acclimate to you, because I'm like, I ain't tell you to stop talking like that. Patty Brown, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. One Who Cares says, exactly, Demetra. My current principal looks like me. I know that's right. Ali says, Demetra, is ChatGPT racist? Well, they said that AI is racist. They did a study a couple years back, and they were asking it different questions. And the summation was that, yeah, it's racist. But now it pulled from millions of sources of things, right? So when they ask them these questions, yeah, it spit out racist things. But again, ChatGPT or the AI, right? I think it was Google. Lambda is one of them. I'm not sure if it was Lambda, but it's pulling from different sources. So the thing itself is not racist, but the sources that they're pulling from, yeah, there's a lot of racist stuff out there. So it's not surprising that AI or ChatGPT or whatever may be racist. Now, I have not had that experience using ChatGPT, and that's not to say that it is, but yeah, it's been proven that they can be racist. But again, look where they're pulling from. So yeah. Who else haven't I seen on here? I know I'm so behind. Hub, how you doing? Says 3 officers in Pennsylvania. They didn't show the suspect face, so you already know what happened in a rural area. That happened today. Man, it seemed like something happening every day, which is crazy. Enuma says, Demetra, ChatGPT know who we really are as a people. Oh yeah, definitely, especially if they're pooling from different sources. Beverly White, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I saw you earlier, on African Diaspora News Channel. Leather and Luxury Cars, how you doing? Says, hey y'all, very, very depressed lately. Always helps to see your lives. Well, why? There's a lot of things going on. I understand why one can be depressed. I think I was kind of depressed a tiny bit before I came on here, because I was like, I just don't want to talk about anything because it's so much depressing stuff. But whatever has you troubled, I hope it's not something that's permanent. I hope it passes very soon. But I understand, and you are in my prayers. I don't suffer from depression, but I know people who do, and it's a battle. So I'm wishing you well. Brother James says, Sister K, I believe it's a good idea for you and other members of the diaspora to put up a vote to us to vote of the type of reparations, cash payment versus Elijah Muhammad's plan. It says, show his plan. I have his plan, and I don't think he was above or opposed to cash payment reparations. It was that and a whole host of other things, right? Is basically what the Muslim wants. I have it somewhere here. It's here. So there's a whole host of things that you can see. I kind of have it highlighted or whatever the case is. And then maybe another day I'll get into it, but absolutely. Let's see. Mad Doggy says, Mr. Mitchell, where can I get that book? You can get it on Amazon. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Amazon. That's where I got it, and that's where I get all of my copies. I send them to different people, children in my family and stuff. Norma, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. J.M. McClinton, how you doing? Or Jay McClinton, rather. He says, college is not for everyone, but college inspired to read more and be curious. Yeah, it's I don't discourage people from going to college because I think you learn a lot of great things from there, right? But you don't always have to go. But it doesn't hurt you to take a course or something like that to learn certain things. But yeah. Lady Brownbird, how you doing? Says, hey, Lady D, what do you think of Trump internet crackdown on hate speech? They say hate speech is protected. It says, he says, M. Kelly, is that what it is? And Tucker are freaking out. Well, they were going to do that anyway. The Democrats were doing it. And you guys got to remember, too, the Republicans, like, oh, they want to crack down and they won't let people say and do what they want, which is why, if y'all notice, the oligarchy was at Trump's inauguration, and you saw Mark Zuckerberg there. You saw Elon, right? And they own social media platforms and things like that. The CEO of TikTok, Chu, I think is his last name. I can't remember, but there's a whole lot of them there. And then when Trump got into office, it was just gloves off on social media. People were saying any and everything they wanted to say. But now, since one of their most beloved people is no longer here, it's like, oh, well, y'all going too far. We're going to, but we should be careful what we're saying on here anyway, right? Like I said, some people go too far. And when that happened to Charlie last week, there were some people who were kind of mad at me because I wouldn't just go in. I'm like, I'm not going to be doing all that. Because even if they take this channel, it could cost me something, right? I got to be careful what I say, and we all should be careful of what we say. Just because you have a social media platform don't mean you should just let it rip and say whatever you want to say, because when you get that knock, 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 we need to talk to you. That ain't fun. It's never happened to me, thank God, right? And I hope it never does. How you doing? It says, Demetria, hey, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you so much for that. And I thank you for being here. Dorsey, how you doing? It says, my grandparents owned a dry cleaner. See, where the black dry cleaners at now? I'm not saying we don't have any, but back in the day, it was everywhere, right? You knew you was taking it to the black dry cleaner. I have family members that own the dry cleaner as well. So where they at? Derek, how you doing? It says integration. And I know I'm so behind, so I'm so sorry that I can't connect exactly what you're saying with that. T. Austin, how you doing? Said the preacher's job was to keep us in line. Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely right. Lisa, how you doing? Said the preacher was there to keep the slaves in check. So with that, are we surprised that you see a lot of these pastors who are saying, oh, he was a good old man. Oh, why? And I saw Martin Luther King's niece, what's her name? I'm gonna jack her name up. Alveda, whatever it is. I saw her saying, oh, we should pray for him. Oh, he was a Christian. And I think she's kind of a Trump supporter too. But it's like, what would your uncle say? I don't know. So yeah, Michelle says, thank you, Demetria, for sharing your knowledge about books that I have never heard of. I just bought it from Amazon. I'm telling you, you're going to be blown away. You're going to be like, why haven't I read this book sooner? It's an easy read too, but it's really a kick in the pants for us, right? It's an admonishment, like, come on now. What are we doing? One who cares says plantation pastor was he was a raccoonish type because he got a little extra butter biscuits, right? And maybe a piece of chicken or whatever to run around with the Bible that he couldn't even hardly read himself, to tell the slaves, you will be washed white as snow when you die. Okay. Obey massa. And then when you get to heaven, everything's going to be all right. That was his job. Period. At the end. It wasn't an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, what you do on the other shit. It wasn't none of that. Which is why when Nat Turner got a hold of those parts of the Bible, he was like, huh? Wait. And he was upset that he had been lied to. And of course, y'all know the rest is history. Kevin says, during slavery, black preachers on plantations performed a crucial and often subversive role, serving as both spiritual leaders and community organizers for enslaved people, in contrast to the Christ. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Arneva says the role of the black preacher is to pacify us. Yeah, and it's still to this day. You'll be all right. Just keep on believing. But as has been said, the white man got his heaven right here. Why we got to wait for heaven? Ain't nobody ever been up in the sky and say, hey, yeah, there's some streets of gold up here. Y'all might want to come on right now. Ain't nobody said that. So why is it that he get to have his heaven right now? We got to do all this bending over, struggling and suffering. Talking about, oh, yes, Lord, when I get on up to heavens, I's going to have me a cow. The one of them cows on the mini here, you can have a cow now. I ain't talking about no ground beef either. You have a cow now. See, when we unlearn that, then we start saying, yeah, I want my heaven right now. Okay, I don't even know if one exists because ain't nobody came back and told us that it does. Let's see. Skipping on down. Share girl, how you doing? Says I cried like a baby when I bought a toilet from a store and the man came with his 15-year-old son. The little boy put it in perfection. It says, what can our sons do? And where's all the black plumbers and carpenters? Read this book because you hit the nail on the head. Now, I'm not saying there's not any black boys that could do that, but that's what we need to be taking and teaching our boys. Like I said, my father he's retired now, a mechanic. He's that since he was 19. He's always been a mechanic. But my brother Walter, he can fix cars. My brother went to the shop with my daddy at 5 years old and learned how to fix cars. I kid you not. I tell you all the time, I learned how to drive when I was like 11, 12, because my dad, when his assistant wasn't at the shop, he'd get one of us. And he said, hey, follow me, right? I need to take this car here, there. I'm telling you, one time I was driving this big old giant car. It had to be a Cadillac. I was scared to death. But I was scared because, like, damn, I can't wreck this car. It's grass, right? But that's how I learned how to drive. I didn't have no license. My dad was that, he said, you can learn how to swim today. Threw you in the pool. Texas Barabbas, how you doing? Said, laugh out loud. Trump don't care about Americans, but the Democrats do, huh? Treating illegal aliens better than us. Keep voting Democrat. I didn't say that they did. None of them care anything about us. So please don't mistake me in that. Guns Tip, how you doing? Says, message to help keep them in line. Yeah, that's the pastor's job. Masters told me to tell y'all, right? My aunt says Roots in 1977 changed the black people's mindset and made them question. Yeah, and if you know anything about Roots, not to dampen the party or anything like that, Alex Haley was sued for plagiarism. And guess who sued him for plagiarism? It was a white man. Said, oh, he stole my story. And the white guy won. Sued Alex Haley and won because he accused Alex Haley of plagiarizing the story. And Alex Haley had a thing like some FBI ties. So some people were saying Alex Haley might have been a plant. Y'all can read it for yourself. I don't want to completely talk bad about Alex, as I know some people will perceive it that way. I'm not trying to do that, but it's almost like Alex might not have been all the way on the up and up. Now, then there's a case too that maybe the white guy was lying and the judge believed him or whatever it was, and maybe Alex didn't plagiarize it, but Alex's background was kind of questionable, to say the least, right? But yeah, Roots, that was definitely interesting. Let's see. Skipping down. I'm so sorry. Black Manosphere. I hope I said the right. How you doing? Says we aren't crazy. We really get certain treatment from certain people as a reality. Well, they're gonna treat us like that anyway, right? But we don't care. We also say knowledge of self is not and cannot be a college course because it's power attached to it. And America doesn't teach Black how to be powerful. We don't care what America teaches. We teach that to ourselves, right? I'm not looking for nobody in America that's outside of me to teach me anything. When I'm saying anything, I mean nothing. Okay, I'm not looking for them to teach me nothing. And my parents never sent me nowhere expecting them people to teach me anything, which is why I am the way I am. Shout out to my mama and my daddy, right? And, I really feel strongly about that because I didn't send my baby to school to be taught nothing by them, right? You go and get the arithmetics. Yeah, I said arithmetics, reading and writing. That's what you get from them, okay? But all that other stuff, now they ain't going to be able to teach you that because deep down inside, they hate you. That's why I always say, especially our Black boys in this system, They got a white woman teacher. Boy, you better have yourself up at that school all the time and make sure your child is being treated right, because innately she hates him, right? She hates him because she's been taught to hate, not just black people, but black men and boys specifically. So she deals with your child just a little bit differently. And the white men do too. I got stories. I know somebody personally whose son was terrorized for a whole year by a white man because his name was mispronounced. I kid you not. Brooklyn lady, how you doing? You says my grandfather didn't graduate from school, but he could fix cars, build houses, and cook. He was good with his hands and very knowledgeable. That's what my daddy always said. If you got this in hands, you should always be able to eat. And if you don't, you're not eating, even though you got hands and a mind, that's on you. As the Bible also says, those who will not put their hands to the plow, and I'm paraphrasing, but dig, you ain't fit to live. If you can't feed yourself, you ain't fit to live, right? Naturally, if you don't feed yourself, you're going to starve. So education is key. How you doing? So did you hear about it says document being deleted? And what document is that? I'm sorry. Hey, cuz, how you doing? Speaking of family, it's my cousin Sean. How are you? Hope you are well. And I love you dearly. Thunder, how you doing? I'm sorry it took me long to get to you. Says I'm glad the doors are locked today. Yeah, they threw us out of here yesterday. They threw us out of here without a warning. They didn't give us a 2-minute last call, alcohol, nothing. Norma says, so far China's DeepSeek is better than AI. I haven't used that one. Light says sounded like a sister Kamala Harris in disguise. You mean my ChatGPT? Yeah, it was kind of like a watered down sister, All right, let's see, because I got 4 more minutes. Acknowledging anybody I haven't seen. John and Emily, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Aggie Maya's World, and I'm so sorry if I jacked your name up. I didn't mean to. How you doing? Sister Marcella, how you doing? Says I just picked some vegetables from my garden at first. I was that good. He says, at growing things, he says, in my 5th year of growing things, this has been my best year. I'm a city girl. I was that good, but in your comment cut off. So I think you're trying to say that you weren't that good at first, but now you're having some success. Yes, I need to really get on that, to be honest with you. Education is key, said Demetri. Did you hear about so he says the NLJ document being deleted? I don't know what that is. Enlighten me, please. All right, Michelle. So you bought the book as well. I'm glad to hear that. Peggy T, what's going on? Says I just clicked on it. I'm reading it from Google. I know that's right. I'm telling y'all, one day we'll have a powwow about this book, and we're gonna be like, yeah, and what about this part, right? Because it's really to inspire us to get up off it, okay? Stop expecting these white folks to do for us, and we've heard this message before. It's not new. Stop expecting them to do for us the things that we should be doing for ourselves. That don't mean we're not getting our reparations. We're getting them, right? But there's things that we should be doing in the meantime when the reparations is coming, because we are the descendant of pyramid builders. I don't care what nobody say, right? I'm just telling you. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing those things right now. You also say we have a reparation meeting this weekend in Boston. Okay. Brother Samuel, how you doing? It says greetings. I say, yes, I'm a tune in. He says here, I'll put this up though. It says at 7:30, they are having a live on Ministers 30th. So it's the 30th anniversary of It's More Than a Vision experience. Yes, I am going to be tuning in, as I cannot wait to hear what it's all about. Gullah Geechee, how you doing? It says be your own, pulling the curtains from us. Yeah, we got to stop that. Mad Dog says Angela Stanton King. No, not Angela Stanton King. Not her. It's out something King. It's not. I know who Angela is. It's not Angela, but I actually saw Angela talking about her. Basically, like, shame on you kind of thing, right? But no, it's not Angela Stanton King. I know who she is. Ooh, I didn't realize I was that behind. Panther Strike says, the first time I ever saw a rifle and handgun was behind the pulpit of my grandfather's church. That pastor preached self-preservation every Sunday. See, that's the pastors we need. Norma says Japan was created by the on code and academics from China. Says they left the raccoons in China. This is what we must do eventually. This is what Malcolm and Elijah was creating as well. Yeah, and have created. Absolutely. It's called the nation for a reason. Brother Samuel says the Ku Klux Klan are Christians. That's why they call themselves the Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. They would also say we're not burning the cross, but lighting it. Exactly. Jay Sanders, how you doing? This Booker T. Washington said, you can be whatever you want as long as you learn a skilled trade first. There you go. What can you do outside of that job, right? What can you do with these, to make money? Hey, Pamela, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Michelle M. He says, wow, I never heard of that conspiracy. And I don't even know what I was talking about before, but TJ, how you doing? And that's because, I'm behind. Brother Damon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Bobby Williams, what's up? Says, hey, what do y'all think about black pastors putting the cap on for CK? I think they're doing what they always do, placating to everybody and acting like they're the authorities, like y'all don't tell us what to do. We don't listen to you, Chosen Detective, how you doing? Says, amen, same here. Yeah, I was talking about when I was saying I don't go to school to, them people ain't teaching me nothing, okay? I understand they don't even wash their legs like that. What can they really teach us? Solomon, how you doing? Says, a white female teacher tried to destroy my son. You're right about being present. My wife stayed at that school. You got to. I'm telling you. Renz, how you doing? Because it's just something about them. Brother Samuel says, Luke 9:62, and Jesus said unto them, no man, having put his hands to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. That's it. I knew I jacked it up. That's the scripture. That is the scripture. Matthew, how you doing? What's happening with you? Pop, how you doing and where you been? T. Austin says, Demetria, I could tell you had a good upbringing. You talk about your parents all the time, especially your father. Yes, I do. I had very present parents. They weren't perfect, right? No parent is perfect, but I had some pretty good parents. My mom has gone on. My stepfather was very present. He's gone on, but my daddy is still here. He's 81 years old, and he's still with us. Thank Allah. Zenobia says, that's what we all need to be doing is reading. Yep, totally. Damon says, the document covers the amount of crimes the white domestic terrorists commit. Oh, okay. I did see that. I didn't know that was the name of it. Okay, I know which document you're talking about. Pam Bondi, they're accusing her of trying to delete it. Yes. I was reading that right before I came on here. I'm not surprised. That's what they do, right? Claude Neely Francis Amos. That's a hell of a name, boy. I tell you that. How you doing? Says FBAs must have no fear. When Nina Simone was asked, what does freedom mean to you, Nina? Nina Simone responded, freedom means free of fear. Come on now. Good old Nina Simone, which is crazy because people say I look like her sometimes. I'm like, do I? I don't think I look like Nina Simone, but I've heard that a million times. Pamela says, that was Angela Stanton's godmother. Okay, Alveda King. Okay, teach me something. Yeah, so Alveda King. Isn't she the auntie or the niece of Dr. King, if I'm not mistaken? Got you. But I saw they kind of were responding to each other on X. Let's see. And Claudia said, there is no such thing as living in peace with white Americans. You and I have tried without success. Elijah Muhammad. Period. Michelle says they're stupid and will not listen to them. And Terry, how you doing? Says, what up in the chat? Hello, everybody. Yes, indeed. We about to get out of here. Thank you so much, Claude. I love and appreciate you for that. It says FBAs must have no fear. When Nina Simone was asked, what does freedom mean to you? Nina says, Simone responded, freedom means free of fear. And we got to. As long as we're walking in fear, we're going to be stuck. And that's kind of where we've been, is stuck. Well, I don't know. What about it? What if they say? What if they do? It's like, well, what if they do? What could be worse than what we're going through now? Right? But thank you. Magnetter, how you doing? Hope that you are well this fine day. Marjorie, you say, I remember when a teacher tried to belittle my grandson for forgetting his homework, calling him a liar. When he came home from school crying, I walked right into the school and she wept. I've had those experiences too. I sure have. But some of those teachers who was, thinking that they was about to play with us was like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. I would say my daughter has had, I want to say all of her experiences with teachers have been with white women and one Asian named Miss Kwan. Y'all remember Dr. Seuss? I think it was the cartoon or whatever. And there happened to be a lady or a character in there called Miss Kwan. And she looked just like my daughter's teacher. Man, that lady was something else. Boy, she was racist, big time. Miss Kwan, I'll never forget, racist Asian teacher that she had one day before I leave here. Let's see, Rob, how you doing? It says you. Oh yeah, I've heard that a lot. I look like Nina Simone, and I'm like, okay. But one time, my daughter, she's in the fifth grade. Miss Kwan was her fifth grade teacher, and it was raining, and so for whatever reason they were doing construction on the school, so her classroom was like in a portable type thing at the back of the school, so I could drive around and drop her off, right? And so I waited, as I always did, for her to go into the class. And when she once she made it into the class, the bell rang, right? And I don't know why I didn't pull off right away, but like a couple of seconds later, I saw my daughter leaving the classroom, and it's pouring rain. I'm like, roll down the window, where are you going? She said I was late. So she says I have to go to the office. Boy, I tell you what, y'all see how my eyes was looking? I'm sure that's how they was looking when I walked in that classroom. I stood at the doorway in front of the kids and everybody. I said, is there a reason you sending my daughter out of the classroom in the pouring rain in the back of this school where nobody could see her walk to the office? And she looked like she saw a ghost. Because what, you thought I just dropped my child off and left? Heifer? Right? And she goes, oh. I said, no, my daughter was on time. What is it that you're doing here? She didn't know what to say. And she said, well, sit down. Now, yeah, she gonna sit down. And I'm on you now from now on because I see what you on. She had a whole bunch of other foolishness going on. I'll tell you a story another time. I think I told it once before, but yeah, they called the police on me. And it was behind some of her foolishness. But anyway, I'll get into that another day. Clay, how you doing? I didn't go to jail. I should say that. Okay. I don't want to leave you on the cliffhanger like I went to jail. I didn't go to jail. But, you know, long story short, there was a white student that was messing with my daughter. And it wasn't that my daughter was scared. I just didn't send my daughter to school to fight. And the white student, she was a big, burly heifer, too. She kept putting her hands on my daughter. So one day I went to pick her up. And I told Miss Kwan and the principal, everybody, hey, y'all better get her. So one day I picked my daughter up. She got in the car and I could tell something was wrong with her. And I said, what's wrong? She says, oh, you know, this heifer, she kicked me. So I got out the car because that heifer was still standing there waiting for her parents. I said, did you put your hands on my daughter? Did you kick my daughter? No, I didn't. No. And the little white boy behind her said, yes, she did. I saw her. Yes, she did. So I told my daughter, I said, the next time she put her hands on you, have my permission to knock her head off. You have my permission. So, of course, she went home and told her parents that I cussed her out, which I did not, because it was a yard lady standing right there. I didn't cuss her out. I just told my daughter, next time she put her hands on you, have my permission to knock her head off. So one day I was on the way to pick my daughter up. The principal called, says, when you come here, actually it wasn't the principal, it was the police. When you come to pick your daughter up, stop by the office. And I kind of had an idea, so I get in there. It was a black police officer. It's like, yeah, you know why I'm here? I said, I have an idea, but why are you here? And he told me about the incident. The little girl said you threatened to cuss her. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I'm a grown woman. What I look like talking to a child like that? I said, but there was a yard lady there. She heard the whole conversation. If she felt like I did something or said something adverse to that child, I'm sure she would have called the police on me herself. I said, I didn't say that. I told my daughter, yes, she put her hands on her again. She had my permission to knock her head off. He says, oh, well, trying to lighten the mood. Now, mind you, when I passed to go to the office, the principal, Miss Kwan, with her funny looking self, was there, and the white student and her parents, they was there. I guess they thought I was going to jail. And he was like, now, you can't tell her that. Come on now. I said, hell no. Yes, I can. I said, I told the principal who's standing out there. I told Miss Kwan and everybody. She kept putting her hands on my daughter. Now I'm taking matters into my own hands. And I said, what I say stands. Now, mind you, my daughter outside probably scared to death, thinking her mama going to jail. And so the officer says, is she your only child? I said, yes. He said, oh, okay. Well, I get it. Why? I said, I don't care if I have 10 children. I'm going to tell them all the same thing. And I said, let me ask you this, though. Did they call you when that child was putting her hands on my daughter? He says, no. I said, why you think that is? And he just kind of, he chuckled. He knew because we black, right? I said, why you think that is? I said, because I'm black and she white. That's why. And he says, well, can you do me a favor? He gave me his card. If this happens again, call me. I said, sure. I said, but hopefully it ain't no next time. And guess what? It wasn't no next time. So I'm one of those parents. I'm like, I don't trust in the system, that I don't believe in that bullying stuff, right? Because we going to handle it. If we can't handle it the way with the school, then we're going to handle it my way. And then, there was times where I had to send her daddy up there. and they did not like to see her daddy because y'all think I'm off about my child, times that by 10. So anyway, hey, Fresh Air, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I will be back here tomorrow. Thursday is our Friday, unless something happens. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your evening. I am going to tune into NOI.org to see what it's all about. So maybe y'all do the same. In the meantime, y'all have a great day. Peace.